Hey, this is Matt. Once again, welcome back to another video. Another paid request. It's time for Lucas. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting any type of videos, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And this is for the Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad from 1949, which I just when I looked at the cover and I looked at the title, I thought this was like some combination of the two. I'm like, hey, that's a bit interesting that it's the Sleepy Hollow, but also is going to include the Mr. Toad. No, it's two films put into one. And I say films, I mean this is probably a little over an hour, so it's not too long. It was produced by Disney, but it was released by RKO Pictures, the same company that released was Citizen Kane and King Kong and others. And it's The Wind of the Willows, Story 1, and Sleepy Hollow, Story 2. Which is such a weird double feature because just a weird double feature. It just feels random. It's like they picked two stories out of a hat and said, yeah, put these two together in the same movie. There's not really any connection to it. Now, the first story, Wind in the Willows, which I would say you just watch the BBC version and get the gist of that. A bit better than this. It's narrated by Basil Rathbone. Basil Rathbone played Sherlock Holmes back in the day, was an accomplished actor back in the day. He narrates the story, and the story is a rat and a mole go see their buddy the badger, and their other buddy the toad keeps driving his yellow cart with his horse, the horse and buddy, and crashing and everything. And I'm sitting there going, when's he going to get sued? Or when's someone going to come out and shoot his ass? Pop, pop, pop. Fuck you, Toad. No one does shoot him, at least not yet. And as he's going all crazy with his Mr. Toad's Wild Ride business, he sees a motor car. And he gets obsessed with that. He has motor car fever. One leads to another. It seems like he's going to make this great deal. But then he's on trial for supposedly stealing a car. He's found guilty. His horse gets him out of jail with his costume. He's escaping. You think he died, but he didn't. And then you realize he's actually innocent because the scum sucker made a deal, his deed of the place for this car, and the guy lied about it, so Toad is innocent. So we gotta go get this fucking deed, and then you get a finale. We just have a fun finale of the friends and Toad dealing with these bad guys, including these weasels. It was interesting, these weasels look like the weasels that would be used in Roger Rabbit. I'm sure there were other Disney movies at this time that looked like that as well. But I'm sitting there, I'm going, these weasels really do look like the ones that would you see in Who Framed Roger Rabbit. So, again, I don't know if Roger Rabbit, the weasels were taken exactly from this movie, or just they were used so prominently in other Disney films of this era. But that's one of the things that popped in my mind the most. And they succeed, and it seems like Toad has worked himself out, but now he's in the plains, and oh shit, what's going to happen next? I mean, that story wasn't too bad at the same time. I mean, it's fairly short. The voice acting and the animation didn't have too much issues with it for its time, 1949. I don't think in the BBC one I saw if the horse really had much of a impact on it. Because I don't remember the horse being Mr. Toad's friend and talked with him, or stuff of that nature. And like I said, the finale had some nice zaniness to it that involved kind of those classic Disney features back in the day. where they have this deed and one stealing from the other, and they're going back and forth and avoiding sharp blades, implements, one saving the other, close calls. There's some fun bits of action in the finale, which was a nice way to end that part. I would say of the two, I liked that one more. Because the other one, Sleepy Hollow, I guess, really, when I think of Sleepy Hollow, I think of the Tim Burton one. But that's not really how the story is, of course, but I just love that movie. But I didn't remember, but at the same time, it had been decades since I've actually read the story Sleepy Hollow. So whenever I think about, I always think about the Tim Burton movie, so I don't remember most of the details except that movie. I'm like, oh, this is how the story was. I guess really, I'm not a fan of the story. I love Tim Burton's movie and that version of the story, but I don't like this version of the story. Because this one, it's narrated and sung by Bing Crosby. And not only that, he pretty much does. There's not really any voice acting in the second story. It's pretty much Bing Crosby talking the whole time. Even if other people are supposed to talk, it's Bing Crosby talking or singing or narrating. So if you're a big Bing Crosby fan, this is definitely worth a look. And he's singing songs like about Ichabod Crane. What a name, kind of odd, but nice just the same. Who's the town's ladies' man? Gets around like nobody can. Ichabod, Ichabod Crane. He's a school teacher. He comes in. There's this buff guy who's a bully. He hates that Ichabod's his ladies' man because he's a teacher. Ichabod seems to get lazier as a teacher. There's times he's not even looking at the class. He's just sleeping and stuff. There's this beautiful lady who comes into play named Katrina. And somehow Ichabod Crane's getting all these ladies. Maybe he's got a big dick. I don't know. Somehow he's getting all these ladies. And a good chunk of it is kind of just Ichabod being oblivious. All these ladies liking him. The bully keeps wanting to fight him. And keeps fucking with him. Katrina being a tease. Ichabod and the girl dancing. And then there's this other lady who's a bit of a bigger, overweight lady. And the buff guy wants nothing to do with her, but when he sees Ichabod dance with the girl, then he grabs the girl and starts dancing with her. So he's even more of an asshole. And then he knows that Ichabod's superstitious, so he tells this story about the Headless Horseman. And one night, Ichabod's with his horse, and he's freaked out, and he's hearing noises, but it's really frogs. And then there's the Headless Horseman. And they have a decent length of a chase. Chasing over here, chasing over there. Just across the bridge, turns, sees the flaming pumpkin heading towards him, cuts away, and the narration mentions how no one ever saw Ichabod again. There's rumors that he went somewhere and married under a different name. But we never see that. We never know that. Instead, we see the buff guy smiling, marrying the pretty girl, Katrina. So I'm like, wait a minute, the buff asshole bully wins and gets the girl at the end? And the guy who really didn't do a whole lot of things wrong. Wouldn't say he was perfect, but was Ichabod murdered? Was the bully guy, did he murder Ichabod? Or I guess just steered him? Okay, Ichabod steered, but they'd go back to the town where all these ladies are wanting to throw their panties at you. I'm like, yeah, just don't go back to the woods. Instead, go to the forest between these ladies' legs. Because back then, they ain't shaving. Don't worry about the trees, worry about the forest. Or the bushes. There you go. Don't worry about the forest, worry about the bushes. The bushes would be better than the forest. Just go back to the bushes and hide there. Bury your face right in the bushes. So, Ichabod just came off as a dumbass pussy. The bully was a buff bully that fat shamed people. Katrina was a tease. Everybody was an asshole. Alive is more of just of this love triangle that I did not find that interesting. And then the last 5 minutes, here's the Headless Horseman, and then kind of a bummer of a deal of an ending. That's what I mean. It was a weird double bill, even like for little kids. I wonder if little kids watch it going, "Daddy, did he die?" Yes. Let's go home. It felt like a weird. You would think, okay, The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad. Okay, the title suggests they're in the same movie together. So it'd be a different take on it. No. Okay, if you're Sleepy Hollow, maybe it'd be two Halloween scary stories. No. It's a weird combination of the two. The Ichabod Crane story, the way it was done, unless you're a big Bing Crosby fan, I just don't really see the need to watch it. The Wind of Willows, interested to see a different take, look-wise, I should say. Because, again, I remember the BBC version. Of course, this came out way before that BBC version. So, which was like stop-motion animation. This is traditional animation. So it was nice to see a different look on it, a different take on it. So that wasn't too bad. And again, what might have been the inspiration for the Weasels and Roger Rabbit, it was nice to see that. That I didn't mind. The Sleepy Hollow one I honestly did not like. It was neat at first to hear some Bing Crosby music, but nowadays you just find it on YouTube to listen to if you really want to. But at the same time, they're not songs I would listen to again. So yeah, I can't say I was a big fan of the movie. Like I said, the Wind of the Willows story, I didn't mind. The other one, not so much. I'm like, can I go back? Can I rewatch Sleepy Hollow with Tim Burton? Can I just watch that film again? That's just my take on it. So with that said, thanks for watching. Take care, and we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.